We're back with Dee Shelton from the Greensboro Fire Department. She's a fire and life safety educator. You can text those questions just like Chad said. Let's get to the ones that are popping up right now. This first one is there a proper way to put out fires in a fire pit when you're ready to go inside?
Absolutely. You've got two choices. Most people are just going to choose to have either a garden hose by their fire or maybe a bucket of water, and you can douse it with that. If it's more like a campfire and you're not where you can get to water easily, you could always use sand or dirt.
Okay. This person says, if a gas grill starts having flames pop up on the rack, should we be concerned and what should we do?
If the flames are getting a lot bigger, of course you would look at turning down the amount of gas that you're feeding in, like turning down the temperature. But if it's still, delivering that amount of flame and you know that it's not right, you could always go straight to the tank, close the lid, go straight to the tank and turn off the tank to stop the flow of gas. And that, excuse me, that would put out that fire.
Should you put down the lid or not?
Putting down the lid takes away the oxygen supply, but as long as you've got gas feeding in there, you need to go ahead and cut that gas off.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's talk a little bit about pool safety because there's some issues when it comes to electricity and pools and things like that with all the things that we've got plugged in around pools and pool heaters and things of that nature. So what types of things should we be aware of?
First things first, if you don't already have a pool installed or you're looking to put one in, make sure that you get a qualified professional to do the work. Make sure you've got permits in place, having someone to come out and do those inspections for the electrical work, just to make sure that everything is grounded and like it should be. And then when we start to use the pool, you want to make sure that if you're using cell phones or maybe you've got music or things like that sitting around the pool, if it's plugged in and electrical, you want to keep it away from the pool, give it a good distance. And if you're using those outlets, the outside outlets, of course, they have the covers to keep the rain out. If you're putting something, plugging something into that, you just want to kind of pull that cover down over it so that any splashing does not get that wet.
All right, let's pull up that graphic one more time because what I want to make sure that we get to is if there's any kind of electrical current or something like that that is anywhere around water, how would you know that?
If you're in the body of water, if you're feeling tingling, get out of the pool. Sometimes people may feel like, okay, I'm stuck and I can't move. That is a huge sign. You just want to make sure that any of those things that you're experiencing, if it's tingling, get out of the water. Mm-hmm. And make sure that if there's anything in the water electrical, get out of the water and get that out of the water. Make sure that you're not leaving it in there with you. Okay. Things can sometimes fall in there with you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go back inside the house. Just recently, we've had some house fires, one of which the door was closed and one of the rooms was almost like in pristine condition, except for the roof. The rest of the house was unrecognizable. And a lot of people said, I'd never heard before that you should close your door when you go to sleep.
Absolutely. Close before you doze is the saying from the NFPA. The idea that when you sleep at night, you should close your bedroom doors. That is holding your oxygen in your room. You're claiming your oxygen because fire's looking for more oxygen. It's the active ingredient. So you're claiming that oxygen, but it's also going to separate or compartmentalize yourself away from the flame. If the flame, if the fire starts in another room, which typically it does, but you're cutting yourself off. And that way, if you have to go out the window, you just keep that door shut. But it does help to compartmentalize and to protect and keep the fire spread down so that, you're protecting property and life.
Mm-hmm. This question is, what class type of extinguisher do you recommend for homes and how many should you have in your home?
Typically, if you've got a one level home, one is plenty. An ABC or regular ABC type would be a plenty. If you've got a 2-story home, one upstairs, one downstairs, typically we have you put them by an exit, especially like in the kitchen area, which is the most common area that you would have a fire. So if there's an exit door going out of the kitchen, you would put it by that exit. But 1 or 2 in the home should be a plenty.
So like the garage door, if it comes into your kitchen, or the back door when it comes to your kitchen, that kind of thing. And don't be putting it underneath something.
No, because the idea is for you to be able to get to it quick. But should you turn around, you get to it and you turn around and see that the fire has grown, which it will, and you decide this is too much for me, you're still there at the exit and you don't get trapped between the fire is not between you and the exit, so you can't get out.
Okay, yeah, because the main point you want to do is be able to just get out, because then you call the fire department, you let them handle it. Dee, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom.
You are
We
so
appreciate it. If you missed any of
Thank you,
this,
Tanya.
you can find it on our website, WFMYnews2.com.